Well, welcome to day 2 of 2024 Mid-America Truck Show. If you've been here, like some of us, I've been here since Tuesday. My feet already hurt, my knees hurt a little bit, and I'm a little tired. But I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm Brent Hutto. I'm the Chief Fun Guy. My job really is Chief Relationship Officer. I handle all the external sort of relationship stuff for the company. But I like to call myself the Chief Fun Guy because I get to work and talk to you guys. I started in this industry in 1998, and Mid-America was the second show that I came to. The first one was the actual Truckstop's show. They have a show for actual truck stop owners. And this was the second one. And man, we've had some beautiful weather, right? Even today's a little overcast, but the last few days have been super beautiful. And my first show, it was sleeting and snowing out. And I worked for Overdrive magazine. I was there for 15 years, the voice of the American trucker, and I loved my time there. That's where I kind of cut my teeth on getting to know you guys and talking to you and working with the journalists that write the articles for you guys and talking to the advertisers and the manufacturers that want to reach you guys. So, and I fell in love with this segment. And in 1999, we started a program called Partners in Business, which was a business 101 on how to help you really love being in trucking by organizing yourself in your business. And I got to run that program for 14 years. And so working with you in your businesses and talking to you about what's important to you is something that I cherished every year until I got to Truckstop, and then I got to be able to work for a company that could actually do something about it, because we're where you find freight. We're where you make money. And so as I began to learn logistics, I learned more and more and more how technology is helping you, and how it opened up a whole new world in 1995 when the internet became such a sensation, and data became free to everybody and open and available. And so that changed everything. And it changed everything for like the common person, like the single player, the small business entity. Because big businesses, they've got teams of people that can gather that information. But single entity, small business doesn't. And trucking is really small business. And so the internet really helped from the standpoint of you guys getting information that can help you navigate, okay, well, what's the trends in the market and what's those sort of things. And so it changed everything. So we were super excited in 1995 when Scott Moskowitz started Truckstop. I wasn't even friends with him. And we met actually here in 1999 at this show. And that's where we became friends. And then in 2013, I went to work there because I love this segment, and I really want to do everything I can to help owner-operators and small fleet owners succeed. And that's why we have this topic today, because you guys told us 5 years ago, when we were beginning to start to automate the data on the system where you could use it without everybody, in some cases, not talking to another party. You guys told us to the tune of 80% of you that you don't like negotiating with brokers. But the internet gave you the ability to have the information the broker had. And so the broker has the information on this side, you have it on this side, so your negotiation or your relationship with them should improve. And from a lot of the discussions I have with owner-operators, it has. Now there's always bad players in the market. There's some brokers that don't play fair, and there's some carriers that don't play fair, and that's in any market. Doesn't matter what business you're in, you've always got players that just choose not to follow the rules. And but for the most part, this is a great, wonderful industry that's full of great people with integrity, and the commerce or the freight movements work very well. But today we got a super fun topic to talk about maximizing your broker relationships. And but I want to talk about some data first, and then we're going to actually bring a broker up here, Mr. Tyler Johnston from Mercer Transportation. He's the head of freight there, and he's the real deal. You're going to talk to one directly. And I believe that you'll see that he's just like the rest of us. He's trying to do the right thing all the time and try to help anywhere he can. But let's jump into this. So that'll be Tyler. He'll come up here in a few minutes. I'm the relationship guy. He's the freight guy. So that's a beautiful truck in front of the Mercer building, which is just a few miles down that way. I go to their homecoming every year because they have it this time, and I love to hear what's going on in the marketplace. All right, so we believe in transparency of information. Why is that important? It's important because of the relationship. I've been married for almost 29 years, and if I wasn't transparent with my sweet wife, Teresa, I probably wouldn't have been married for almost 29 years. Even though we've produced 6 kids together. You got to be transparent. So the more available, the more transparent you are with each other, the better. And that's what we started in 1995 with Truckstop, because we opened up the door. We opened up the door to all the carriers in the marketplace, where you can have access to the same thing that the broker does. By the way, when we did that, it didn't make brokers happy. Like, not at all. Because they had an advantage. And I get it. If it was your business, you'd go, well, my advantage is going away. But here's the cool thing. In 95, when we started Truckstop, 5% of the freight in the United States freight marketplace was moved in the spot market. I think I have a slide in here and I'll show it to you. It's north of 35 today. It's a growing marketplace. When there's a growing marketplace, everybody has a chance to increase the profitability and size of their business. Everybody. Doesn't matter what part if it's growing. So when something grows, that's great. And transparency is a big part of growth. All right, so how many of you like $10,000 more in your pocket? Is everybody not raising your hands? Are you asleep? I mean, I realize it's after lunch and they may be serving beer somewhere here. I don't know. Okay, 2 hands up. That's great. Something as simple as negotiating 10 cents a mile, more on a load, 10 cents. If it's $2.30, can I get $2.40? And let me show you the data as why I should get $2.40. I'm a better carrier. I'm more consistent. The actual rate in the marketplace is more than that. If you do that over 100,000 miles a year, an average 1,400 miles, that's just what the industry tells us is an average, you're going to net out of almost $10,000, $9,940. I'm going to round up. I'm from Alabama. I'm rounding up. 10 grand. That's a lot of profit for your business to grow in, or that's more Christmas presents, or that's maybe a better vacation, or a vacation at all, or saving money for your maintenance on your truck. By the way, the number one thing that puts an owner-operator out of business every single year, and it's never changed, major mechanical failure. So if you are not saving for that rainy day when you get into a wreck or a transmission goes out or you have a major engine problem, you may be in that category of losing your business. Make sure you're saving for maintenance. So profitability matters. All right, so you're in a giant marketplace. For those of you that don't know, the laser pointer doesn't work well. It works okay if you're like right here, but not up on the screen. So you're in a giant market. Giant. 750, actually that's a low number. It's more like 800 million movements in freight movements in America. 85% of it's in truckload. If you're in the spot market, 90+% of the freight in the spot market is truckload freight. So you're in a giant marketplace with huge opportunities. I'm going to show you a slide that shows you the growth in it. Most of it, if you're starting a business here, the big purple part here is dry van, and you've got refrigerated and flatbed and Vulcan specialized. This is the one that's more competitive because you got to compete with the dry van. You got to compete with all the contract carriers out there, from 100 trucks to Knight Swift Express. And it's also the most competitive. It's also the lowest paying. It can be, it's certainly profitable, but as you move into the smaller parts of the pie, there's more rate that's paid for those, so you can make more profit in them. A little bit more work that has to go into more qualifications. So find the segment that you want that can help you the most. All right, so here's the slide that should be encouraging to you. All right, so I had a guy come to me yesterday and say, I didn't even know that these numbers existed. I go, we've been putting them out for like 50 years. We have an economist on staff, and he's a really old guy. Well, excuse me, I shouldn't say that. He's a really cool 76-year-old economist that has an earring. That's cool enough. Anyways, it's Noel Perry. He's been around forever. So I love the flash. So I love the lightning bolts. What I want to draw your eyes to is on the left-hand side. You'll see the lightning bolt on the bottom. Well, that was 2000. It's 24 years ago. It's more than 2 decades ago. You'll notice that the gold line, and that's the trend. So that's the expected trend of the marketplace. So if you know accounting, or if you know sales, everybody knows sales is going which way? Up into the what? Up into the what? Right. Because that means it's growing. All right. The squiggly line are the actual amounts of freight. All right. So 2008, 2009 is the second lightning bolt. That's the Great Recession. We all went through that. Notice how far it went below the line. Tough time. Tough time. And it didn't go right down and go right back up. It went down and didn't come back up until 2015 when it crossed the trend. So tougher times. All right, so notice that it comes back up and we've got this dip, the third lightning bolt. That's the 2-week stay at home for 2 weeks, which ended up being stay at home for quite a lot longer time from that. But notice it went like this, right back up. And then we had the best market ever in the history of trucking since deregulation in 1980. And everybody made a ton of money. And a lot of people came in this industry. And a lot of people moved from different parts of this industry. And notice on the right, and that's the trend in 2025. Notice it's above the trend line. That's a growing marketplace. You have opportunity to succeed. It is not guaranteed, but it is there for you to take advantage of it. Here's the most important thing. Look at the left, and then look at the right. It's a growing marketplace. You're in a growing marketplace. You can make money in this market. I know it's hard. You need to be concerned about your costs more than you are about your top line revenue, but you can make money in this market, and you have, this is a survive market, right? Because it doesn't always stay this way because it's supply and demand. All right, these are the actual load postings we've had in Truckstop since 2018. What I want to show you here is how great the market was. And then Tyler's going to come up in just a second. The marketplace, the red line's normal load availability in the market. The red line's normal. This is the pandemic. All right, when rates went to $1.50 and there were not a whole lot of freight in the marketplace. Came way back up and went over for a long time. So it went for a very long time. So economic curves, this is the thing that you need to keep in mind. Economic curves go up, and as quickly as they go up, if they go over and they stay up for a long time, they come back down. Well, when they come down, they're going to stay down for a while. Okay? Right, if they go up and come down quick, it's likely going to happen again. When it does it again, if it goes down, the up is going to come up quick. That's economics. Kind of like a one-on-one. Well, it was up for so long, and we've been down in a normal market from load availability for a year, more than a year, 17 months. So it's likely at the end of this year, we'll start to come back up to a normally adjusted market. Hopefully inflation will be under control by then. The Federal Reserve says it will be. And hopefully they'll keep cutting the points off of it because they feel like the economy's stable. All right? They're trying to get inflation down, which kills all of us, you and me and everybody else. Couple of statistics here. And then I'm going to get Tyler to jump up here. Tyler, just come on up here. All right, fantastic. You're gonna man, look at this. This is a young guy. He's going to jump up on the stage. Right. Yeah, okay. I have to use the steps.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're showing me up. Okay, I get it. All right. So this is Tyler Johnston from Mercer Transportation. Let's give him a hand of applause for being here. Thank you. I say what?
Like a magician.
That's right.
Doing a magic trick.
That's right. Tyler said yes to doing this talk with me 4 years ago. This is our fourth year in a row to do it. Because I said, I'd like to continue to dispel the myth that brokers don't want to really be open and honest with carriers. And Tyler said, I'd love to do that too, because that's how we create the best relationship with the carriers that we work with. And they're a carrier here in town. They have 2,000 leased on owner operators that haul freight for them, and then they have a super successful brokerage division. He's the director of freight for the entire company. And so he's also my good friend. He's also a dad. He's a husband and a dad. So just like the rest of them. And so how to broker, and this is a demographic study from Truckstop that we did. About 2,000 brokers responded to it. How often do they include rate? 68% of the time. How often do they negotiate? 3/4 amount of the time. And how are the rates you're offering compared to 2023? Oh, to 2022, because we did this right at the end of 2023. Half of them still said they were about the same. Only half were lower. So Tyler, when you look at these statistics, tell me a little bit about how rate has helped you in your business and why posting the rate availability to a carrier is important.
Well, we're going to talk about it here in a minute too, but the way I like to address it is I'm on my side of the desk, so the guy that drives the desk. Posting the rate quite simply saves time, and it builds transparency, honesty, and trust. Those are three things that we are trying to get to all the time. We're trying to make a relationship and build a relationship, and we'll talk in a minute about why that's important. But also this 51% rates compared to 2022. I think that plays into showing you just how much freight that we look to cover on software like Truckstop.com or things like that. It's not just spot market freight. Right. We'll talk about ways to get freight later, but it's also contract as well.
Yep, fantastic. All Right? So types of loads they move in the market. You'll see that it's all across the board. Types of number of customers that they use, and number of carriers that they use. So it's a tremendous variety in that when it comes to the number of total loads they move monthly. So it's anywhere from a few to a lot. So it's a wide open marketplace. It's not just large brokers that are out there. Biggest obstacles. This is a really fun one. This is a lot of reason why Tyler's standing up here today. Number one problem is with brokers is the biggest obstacle is communication carriers. It's 35% of, it's the largest, it's the most frequent responded part of the question. So communication, which is what we're going to talk about today, Tyler. So a bigger part about communication, just know that it's a problem for them too. It's not just a problem for the carrier side. All right, so regulations affect you tremendously inside the marketplace. Just know that regulations are going to change your business, and that's the thing that makes the changes that are inside of transportation that affect us directly all the time. The pandemic was not a trucking regulation. The 2008-2009 was a banking problem, all right? But the 2018-2019 good market that we had was ELDs, which was a trucking regulation. This chart shows you that this is the number of carriers that need to be hired in anticipation of the regulations that are either in place or coming to be in place over the next years. So notice that it's all above the line. So there's more and more trucks. But here's the cool thing. This is why we know that rates are eventually going to go back up. I started in this marketplace in 1998. There were about 3.5 million commercial trucks. Tyler, how many commercial trucks are there today in 2024?
Oh gosh, I don't even.
About 3.5 million.
3.5 million, there you go, all right.
The population of trucks hadn't changed a lot. So when you've got more freight and the same amount of trucks, your rates should be more in your favor than none. All right, but watch the regulations, because that's what will make the changes in the market, because those are things that we have to navigate around, no matter what. If they change, right? So here's another thing that's interesting. We talked about this. You want to talk about this one?
Yeah. So yeah, that's great. We did this talk. I think it was the first year that we talked about this, in 2018, maybe or 19. And look, whenever I'm doing my business on this side of the desk, I knew things happen lightning fast. I knew they happened lightning fast. We'll talk about why here in just a second, but my process has gotten better throughout the years. As technology has entered the industry, it's improved the process and it's improved data mining and different things like that. Brent shared this information with me in 2019, and it even blew my mind on how quick things happen on the spot market. That becomes your all's advantage if you use that information correctly. But yeah, so in 2023, 54% of the loads are covered in 1 hour or less. How many people dial different brokers for the exact same load, checking on price? Yeah, you do that often. Please understand that 54% of the loads in 2023 are covered in an hour or less. Time saves money, creates efficiency.
On the load board, if it has all the information and it has the very positive rate in it, it'll move in 60 seconds or less. So understanding the dynamics and the timing of things is really important. So let's go to the next slide. All right, most brokers move freight nationally, although they move regionally and locally. Interesting enough, when you guys answered the same question, you're balanced between all three segments. And so brokers ask me questions about that response. I go, well, what you can take away from a carrier standpoint is they'll haul freight anywhere, anytime, as long as it pays well, no matter what. They don't look at it as I'm a local, regional, or national hauler. They look at it as, does it fit where I am at that time of the month? So super important. Types of brokers freight that they move. There's a couple of things I want to point out here, because I want to get into Tyler's really part of this, is that there's a lot of flatbed, dry van, reefer, but hot shots have gone up tremendously since the pandemic. There's more hot shot haulers inside the spot market than ever before. Hot shot is also expedited, those sort of things, and so they have found a way to be profitable in that segment. A lot of it's truckload partial that they cover in the market, and that's because the Amazon effect, because there's a lot more smaller, very well-paying loads that move in the marketplace. Did you want to comment on that?
No,
Okay.
what was that Hot Shot TV show that was on TV for a while that covered hot shots that ran across the country? Do y'all remember that? Does anybody know the name of that show?
Shipping Wars?
Shipping Wars, that's what it was called. That made me think of that.
There's also a big increase in power only. If I can give you any advice on this, I sit down with a lot of large carriers in the marketplace, and power only is you shaking your head. Yes, so power only is going to increase, and that's because of the Amazon effect too. There's more and more companies that want to like have a trailer sitting somewhere, and they want to fill it, and then they want to find a power only truck to pick it up. And if you're a leased owner operator moving from a fleet to having your own authority, you don't own your own trailer, then there's plenty of freight inside the spot market moving power only, and it's going to grow. So that's two segments that are going to grow. All right, so Tyler, here we go. We're kicking off your part of this.
Yeah.
The data nerd is over here. Yeah.
I'm hopeful my voice will hold out. I'm just going to hold my water. I apologize. I'm talking for a full day and a half. I got a day and a half to go. We're going to make this thing work.
Fantastic. So let's kick it off. Technology has it's revolutionizing trucking. We're an old industry that needs more efficiency. And so trucks are becoming more efficient, that we have a lot more freight in the same number of trucks, so the actual production or optimization has become more efficient.
Yeah.
But the bigger gains that are left are going to be solved by technology.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
real quick, I want to ask a question. I did this yesterday just to know who we're talking to. How many of you all drive for a fleet of 500 or more trucks? All right, how about first-time owner-operators out there? Anybody? Gosh, these lights are bright.
All right. There's hang on.
Yeah.
Come up there. Say that. First time owner operator, raise your hand. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep them up. 8, 9, 10.
All right.
The lights are a little bright, and I'm sure my shiny head is not helping Tyler out.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you.
How about run your own authority? Okay.
Oh, bunch.
Majority still running their own
That's
authority.
America.
That's
right?
fantastic.
There you go.
So listen, this is why it's really important. I want to talk about how we do our job, just like I said earlier, the people that drive the desks, how we do our job. I love this quote. It's from a Netflix show that is not pertaining to transportation, but it works great in a broker's mindset. In order to sell certainty, I'm trying to sell certainty to the customer of a truck to cover their load. In order to sell certainty, you must have great predictions. In order to have great predictions, you must have a lot of data. That is what is entering the trucking industry, transportation industry now. Lots of data, lots of advantages. He said earlier, Brent said earlier, and I really appreciated it, for a long time it was the broker's advantage.
Yeah.
The data was the broker's advantage, and it still is. We have all the computers and things like that, but it's also now your advantage. The thing we need to do is make it our advantage. Okay, we need to work.
Time out. Say that again.
I like it. Hey,
that was really good. That's where I started to say that again.
It was off the cuff.
Yeah,
there.
that was
We do. We need to. If for a long time it was our advantage, now it's your advantage, and we need to make it our advantage.
That's a good way to put that.
Together. So
our marketing team's here. Write that down somewhere.
That's really good. Next month. So let's talk about that. What's technology doing? This is important too. It's doing two things. It's improving the process, TMS improvements, artificial intelligence, software integration. It basically saves me time. Clicks on the keyboard, keystrokes, right? It's making my job faster and more efficient. And it's improving decision making. That is really important in how you guys operate. Things like data mining, rating tools, smart capacity sourcing, those ABC loads that you can get predictability on. The reason that's important, here's how I refer to it to all of our carriers or all of our new trucks that come in. We no longer have to use the Farmer's Almanac to predict the marketplace, all right? We have sonar now, okay? And you guys have sonar as well. You can see what's going on in real time with truck density ratios and lane matrices that are out there to really get an accurate depiction of what you're getting into. So that we can create good communication. You all saw a few slides ago that communication is the #1 issue for a broker, or a #1 wish, I guess, ask, is better communication of the carrier from a broker. So, yeah.
All right, fantastic. Moving on.
What does that do? What does technology do?
Yeah.
Industry affects technology. It's making it a few things. Fast-paced, more automation, less touches, less interaction and more transactional. That's the one I hate. That's the one that we want to combat. Okay, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But it is a necessary evil. It is becoming less interaction. I think society in general is becoming less interaction. And it's getting competitive and super accurate. Those people that raised their hands earlier that said that they called different brokers for the same load, and you see all of these different rates posted, I can promise you guys, and I'll tell you why here in a minute, our rates are within dollars of each other most of the time. We are fishing for a truck, but our rates are within dollars of each other because we have the tools that you all have as well to make it very, very accurate in our bidding.
Right, I appreciate you saying the word competition, because I think a lot of times in trucking, the truckers don't think like we're in competition with each other, because it's a culture, you know, it's a family, it's a unique relationship that we all enjoy with each other. So you don't really realize that when you get onto like our load board, you get on any load board, or you're dialing for brokers and stuff, you're competing with every other truck that's looking in that segment at that time. You don't really see it or feel it because electronic things are kind of impersonal, but it moves fast. And so the understanding that your need to move fast is important. Your need to understand the data in the market and the timing of that data in the market and the seasons that you're going through it will either be to your disadvantage or to your advantage. It's up to you because it's right there in your hands.
Yeah.
Know your data.
This is so important. Have knowledge of current market. The information that is now at your fingertips. You can have knowledge of current market conditions, current freight rates, current trucks in the lane, so that you're well prepared to start well and initiate the relationship with the broker. Our job too often becomes way too transactional and not enough relationship driven. But often we don't know the right things to talk about. We don't know the right things to ask. We're not the smartest people in the world. We have keyboards, but we don't know a lot of times what the right information is. So it's important that you guys give that to us and you guys have knowledge of what space you are in currently.
When I talked about market conditions, I can't tell you how important it is. When I showed you the chart that had the orange and the green on it, showed the load postings. You noticed it was really big for the good period that we all made. You know, what they said in Raising Arizona, the salad days. I like to use the Raising Arizona quote. If you don't know Raising Arizona, you should watch it. It's quite funny. It's one of Nicolas Cage's best movies. But knowing the market conditions is just so important to your business. It's just so important because if while we were in this big positive market during the pandemic, if you said, okay, I normally hauled that in 2019 for, I'll just use a really good number, $3 a mile. And you said, God, if I could get $4 a mile, that'd be great. And a broker calls you and you say, I'll do it for $4 a mile. And he's actually, or she's actually moving it for $5 a mile because of conditions in the market. You just left 25% net profit off the board. And you made a great amount of money, but you could have made more. So knowing the market conditions, and so you saw that the market was in the plus side for a long time. Remember where the red line was against we are in a normal market and have been for a while. So what's the likeliness that the rates are going to change a lot when you're calling a broker? Not a whole lot, unless you can differentiate yourself. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. All right. How to start well. One of my favorite beer pictures.
We had a debate about this yesterday.
Yeah, I said, the horse or you the person?
Yeah, so I'm the horse in this situation. Guys, often, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink, right? It's how to start well. Give us complete details of your equipment, your actual location, how often you're there. Tell them what works best for you. They might have a solution to the problem. We both have a problem in hands. I've got a load to cover. You guys have a truck. We need to make a solution to that, right? I might have something that works better. I might have something that works consistently for you. But I don't know too often, more often than not, I don't know how to ask the right question. But if you provide the right information, it might key me in to ask something and tell you something that creates consistency.
Right. I told this story the other day. Okay, so I am the son of a professional athlete. My dad played professional football. So, but he was really, really big, huge guy. He just unfortunately married a woman who was 5'1", so I am of average height. And but I was a really fast guy, so I ran track a lot. And my dad would always say, son, he'd say, look, just remember to tell yourself to come out of the blocks really well. Just come out really well. And I'm like, I'm a young guy. I think I know everything. Why I wouldn't trust my dad, who got paid to play sports. I did, and he said, I said, all right, why, Dad? He goes, because if you don't start well, you can't win the race. He goes, you may finish, you may come in third, but you're not highly likely you're going to win the race. So starting well is really, in relationships, it's super fun. and or super important from the standpoint of starting well with a relationship. And I love this point about tell them what works best for you. I mean, I worked with one of the greatest guys inside of transportation. His name was Mike Riley. I was a young salesperson, and I said, I'd been there a couple of years, and I said, Mike, what's one thing you wish the employees would tell you? We had about 300 employees. And he said, Brent, he goes, the CEO of the company, I wish they'd come in and tell me what their hopes and dreams are and where they want to be. I'm like, huh? You're the CEO? He goes, man, I just want to help people. I just want to help them get to where they are. So if you're willing to tell them if you're willing to tell a broker what works best for you, let them work for you. Because they really love to put a load on your truck. And if they trust you over time, that rate goes up and up and up. All right, so super important that you tell them what works best for you. All right, how to start well. So some operational things.
This is the best. I like the bottom of this slide the best.
Yeah.
Don't define the problem, define the solution, okay? I hear too often that rate's cheap, okay? We both know we have that problem. The other one, number 3, other brokers have it posted for more. That's when I just sink in my seat. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about how are we going to get to a solution. Just like the previous slide said, how to start well. Give me the details, give me the equipment list, give me the lanes that you run normally. I might have a long-term solution for you. Again, we're all about saving time and creating efficiencies in order to create profitability in the end, okay?
Yeah, how you start talking to somebody is pretty important. Like I said, I've been married for 29 years, right? I didn't start out with, hey Teresa, my name's Brent, would you like to get married?
Yeah.
No, that's probably not going to work, even though he's not Teresa. So, so you have to start, well, what are those things that create trust in the conversation, that open it up? You know what I mean? So starting out with a barrier never works. All right, it doesn't work with human beings, period. Doesn't matter whether it's a broker or whether you're trying to make sure you're getting your fast food ordered a little faster. So,
it would work great if you said, hey Teresa, you don't look good in green. Wouldn't respond to that.
Probably not. All right, so let's move on. All right, transactional versus relational.
Too often we are this, you and I. Too often we are this. We're Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man. We're all after the same thing. We just need to get there and be able to get there efficiently with each other. We all want consistency. We all want comfortability and trust with each other. We want the relationship. We want profitability. Too often we look at each other and we're on the phone, and this happens very, very quick, but we say, well, they're the problem. They wanted to kick me off the phone. They wanted to just get on to the next load, right? How many of you all have ever experienced that? Or same thing, I'm on this side of the desk saying, dang, well, all they wanted was that one load. How many of you all are called one and done with most of the brokers that you work with, load by load basis? Yeah, you already raised your hand. I guarantee you are. Most of you are.
You got an amen over here.
You have to understand that if we can create that consistency, that creates the efficiencies. So asking the right questions and trying to not be Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man and not defining the problem, but defining the solution is very, very key.
Well, I just appreciate you using the Spider-Man picture because that's my favorite superhero.
So
it's my favorite.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. It puts everything into it that we want to get to a relational conversation, not a transactional conversation. And one of the things you pointed out, you talked about how, and maybe you'll talk about this in a second, but I'd like to bring it up. You talked about how important time is. So you want to talk about this in a second?
Let's talk about this.
Okay, great, fantastic.
That's the key.
All right.
This one I love. Predictability breeds efficiency. Efficiency creates profitability, okay? If I know where I'm going to be, what I'm going to do, and who's got what for what, I can be efficient, or I can find efficiencies. That is when things start snowballing into profitability. If you know your surroundings, and you know what you have to work with, and you know your data, and you know what's going on, you can be profitable.
Absolutely. So the relationships are pretty valuable. All right, so why build a relationship? I mean, come on. Don't you just want to be transactional and get them off the phone, get them moving, get that freight on and move it on to somebody else?
You asked yesterday how many loads Mercer brokers,
right?
Just on a yearly basis,
yeah.
And it's around 40 to 45,000 loads that we broker. I would be more efficient on my side of the desk if I created relationships and was able to have repeat business and repeat transactions. You guys would be much more efficient if you knew the steady lanes and routes, the familiarity and trust. I am absolutely willing to pay more money for the trust, familiarity, and fast relationship transaction I don't want to say transaction because I don't like transactional, but if we can develop a relationship and create that repeat business where I know you, you know me, and we know we're going to take care of each other, and we can create efficiencies with it.
So one of anything is the greatest cost. If you're negotiating, I know there's a lot of one and done, and I understand that. Sometimes that works because you're looking to try to get to a different place. But anytime you're having to negotiate with somebody for the first time, you have to spend more time. They have to spend more time. Remember, time is money because you're paid by the mile, but that mile's got to be moving. All right. So this is why timing is important in this. And this is why predictability or familiarity is so important, because if they know you, you can still be friendly, but you're able to close the conversation, close the deal faster. You can say transaction faster. So therefore, your time is maximized and their time is maximized. Both parties make more money. Time is important. Time is the only constant that can't be replaced. All right, we can replace everything else, but not time. All right, the other F word.
That slide previous when we were talking about trust. This is something that we're trying to combat, and we all know it's rampant right now in our industry. The other F word, double brokering. Ask questions, ask lots of them. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Every single orientation class that I have on the carrier side, I talk to every orientation class, and I use this analogy, and I want you guys to know this so bad. If someone calls you, what is the date?
The 22nd.
Yeah.
22nd.
So if someone calls you, most of you might get a load out on Monday or something like that. Someone calls you on Monday and says, hey, I've got a load of ping pong balls picking up in Louisville, Kentucky, going to Dallas, Texas, weighs 100 pounds, pays the truck $8,000. Guys, there's no ping pong balls paying $8,000 going to Dallas, I'm sorry. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Don't chase the unicorn loads. Chasing the unicorn loads only wastes time. We just talked about how valuable time is. So create the relationships, create the trust, familiarity, and fight against the other F word, fraud. That helps me, it helps you. It definitely, that breeds the repeat business.
Yeah, no doubt. On the fraud end, a couple things to protect yourself. And we had a education event before this on Wednesday and Thursday called the Certified Master Carrier with Kevin Rutherford and Let's Truck. And there were many carriers in the room that were giving advice to the carriers on what you need to do in order to protect yourself. And one of them said, just make sure you check to make sure that phone number that's calling you is actually the phone number that is like registered on their website. Or look at that email address and make sure that it matches the email address that you've gotten before, or that matches the actual URL, the email address of the company on the website. So they were talking back and forth on things, which was super exciting. For us as a technology, and by the way, I just talked to the FMCSA about this, and they're doing the same thing. Carrier identity is super important from the standpoint of you being able to identify yourself. So we've instituted not just multi-factor authentication, like you got to put your name in, or optical or something like that, or facial recognition. But we're actually putting in a carrier identity from the standpoint that you'll have to scan your driver's license and scan a picture of yourself, so it identifies every single time. You want to have fraud stop, you got to do things like that. Big networks like ours are doing this. Tyler and his company are part of that with us. Also, our governing body, which is the biggest collection of the data, is doing the same thing. Now look, that's a pain in the butt, I get it. But I rented a U-Haul the other day and had to do that. And I was paying $14.95 for the U-Haul for one day. It's part of the world today because of technology, because of the way in which we're moving faster and faster. And that's many great benefits for our life. Some of it's a pain in the butt, I get it, but it protects you. And I promise you, if you want to stop most all this fraud stuff, these are the measures that we take, and everybody will be happier in the end.
Yeah, I really appreciate all the extra steps that Truckstop is taking now. And what my company does is a few different things, and I equated it to yesterday. All these different verification softwares that are out there for carrier verification, and you all, or broker verification, you all have used them before. It's all algorithmically driven. If I have my 7-year-old son watch my YouTube, I don't let him watch my YouTube and watch his toy videos on my YouTube, because what's it going to do to my YouTube feed? It's going to be toy videos. It's going to change my algorithm completely. The softwares that are on this, they are collecting different data points about potential bad actors. And then it's up to the carrier or yourself to decide from those potential data points and those red flags that are given, what is point that I want to say I don't want to use the potential fraudster or bad actor. We can't have relationships with everybody. We're talking a lot about developing relationships. We are going to have to do those new conversations, so it's great that we're all fighting against this and together.
Yeah, to close this out, one of the easiest ways to not get in a fraudulent situation is to know each other. Like I said, I have 6 kids. I'm not going to mistake my kids for somebody else's. I know my kids. All right? Know who you're doing business with. This is why repeat business can keep your business more profitable on one end. On the other end, it protects you against the bad actors in the marketplace. Know who you're doing business. Take the extra step. Trust your gut. You guys are the best at what you do in the world. Trust your gut on this. Your gut doesn't lead you wrong. All right. So,
oh wow,
we're going to close with this. And this is the reason why we're up here today. 4 years ago when I called Tyler and I said, are you willing to do this? And he, before I got the words out of my mouth, he goes, I'd love to do it. I'd love to. And I said, all right, hold on, Chief. I'll ask a little more out of you. All right? Because I want them to really know that you're sincere, like many brokers are, about creating a beneficial, profitable relationship with the carriers in the marketplace. I said, you need to tell them something about your business that you wish they all knew, that you wish they communicated to you, that you, by saying it, would help them tremendously and help you tremendously. I really want, give us something that's like special sauce, in this, that's the Coke recipe. What is it? He goes, I know exactly what it is. And he goes, I wish, and this is his exact words, I wish every carrier knew how the broker gets the freight. So jump in there, Mr. Johnston.
Yeah, we talked earlier about asking all the right, proper questions and trying to start well and knowing your data. How many of you all wanted to know ever actually how we got the freight on our end? How do things work? Well, we want to dive into that. So I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Mercer or XPO or CH Robinson or Schneider or Landstar, anybody. There's only 3 ways that brokers get freight from the customer, get freight tendered.
And that would be a manufacturer shipper.
Yes, or manufacturer, yeah, manufacturer, shipper, we'll call them shipper, that's good. There's only 3 ways. Now there's variations of those 3 ways, and we can dive into little fingers of the 3 ways, but there's only 3, and they're very simple, but they're very important to know what type of freight you are dealing with on the front end. Let's get into it, let's dive.
All right, here we go. Take as many pictures as you want.
First one, contract freight, okay? This is like when your big companies, Pepsi, Walmart, Caterpillar, things like that, they send out, what they do is they send out a big package to us every year, okay? And they say, here's all the lanes that we're gonna ship in 2025. There could be thousands of lanes, and I know tens of thousands of lanes. You talked about a broker that got a 10,000 lane bid package.
That's correct.
Yeah, so they send it to us, and what we do, we sit behind the desk here, and we get on our computer, and we say, okay, Louisville to Orlando, you're offering 50 of them. I can take 25 of them next year for $2.50 a mile plus fuel. And anyway, we go through lane by lane by lane by lane by lane, and then we send it back. And they sit on the other side of their computer, and they say, okay, Louisville, Orlando, Mercer, 250. We'll give them 25. We'll give Landstar 10. We give,
Do you think it's competitive?
Right? Yeah. Excuse me, sorry. So they go through that, then they send it back to us and they say, here's the lanes you're awarded. We're not going to tell you when they ship, what time of year, what time of season, what time of week, what time of day, but you better haul them whenever we give them to you. That is when we call you, and if I had a lane, that's North Dakota or something, that's when I'm the guy on the other end of the phone going, hey, Bismarck, North Dakota, sure pretty this time of the year. You sure you don't want the slow? You can get it. Yeah, you good. My neck's on the line, okay? I need to cover that load because I committed to it a year ago, all right? Key points about that type of freight, the contract freight. Rate is firm. I bid on it. I bid on it a year ago. I told this company that I could haul this freight a year ago. We usually say things on the phone like direct tender, book load. It is usually only posted by one broker at a time. And We say that the negotiation or the margins are slim. You did a slide yesterday. What's the average margin for a broker that you hold on Truckstop?
Yeah, fantastic. Historically, it's been about 14.5%, and that's through the Transportation Intermediaries Association, Big Broker Association. After 2023, it was 17%, so it's gone up a little bit. But that's the average gross, not net margin. That's not what they take home their kids. This is what the business makes before they paid all the expenses. So about 17%.
17%. So when we say rate is firm, we are not making margins of 75% or double or 100% on a load. If I offer you a rate of $750, that does not mean I got that rate from the customer for $1,800. Okay. There is some negotiation room, and more importantly, I have to move this freight. So I am willing to talk. Okay?
Because you've agreed to.
Because I've agreed to it. I've already bid on it, and they've awarded it to me. Number two, this is probably the one that's most used. Do y'all remember Rolodex? Y'all remember Rolodex? All right, I am old enough to remember Rolodex. Shippers have a Rolodex of brokers that they're going to use, okay? Every shipper has one on their desk, okay? And what they do with spot market freight is they send variations of this, but usually an email to everyone and their grandmother and says, I've got 5 Orlando loads, bid on my freight. Here you go. First one to give me a good rate, a competitive, a truck at a competitive price wins. You will see multiple brokers posting the same load. That does not mean we all have the load. That does mean we need a bird in hand. There's lots of competition. Speed wins, okay? You see sometimes brokers, I'm trying to know how to say this correctly. You see brokers posting rates that are big variations, right? A lot of the time they're competing for a truck. They need a truck, they need something to offer their customer. They're trying to get a competitive rate on it, but it doesn't mean that that is the exact rate. That means basically what they're willing to talk about it at, okay? The third, this is my favorite. This is what I'm trying to move the other two to. The third's relationship freight. I used to call it he's a good guy freight. That means I've been doing business with John Smith at the concrete manufacturing company for 25 years. He knows that I'm going to provide him a reliable truck at a competitive price, and he's not calling anybody else but me. It's my freight. I have time to work on that freight. It's posted by one broker. It's relationship driven. I need a reliable truck. I'd love to build a relationship on that lane or that customer because he probably moves other things. So this is something that we always have room to talk about pretty regularly.
So you've got 3 types, and so you make a phone call, and once you get past the hellos, and you know them, or you're talking about the freight in hand, how much negotiation do you have in the 3 parts of these? So contract freight has a certain negotiation
Spread.
Spot market freight has a certain negotiation spread. Relationship freight has a certain, and just in general, I've got more or less in this one.
I would say less on contract freight because my prices are already set. And I do have to cover my costs, but I do have to cover the loads. So on some loads, we don't win on every load. We are willing to give.
Is sometimes not winning mean you lose?
We take a
money?
loss. We will take a loss.
Because you don't want to lose the customer.
Yeah, and we've already accepted.
Okay, all right. And since you're moving 40 to 45,000, a few of them you're going to take a loss.
I'm going to take a loss on,
yeah.
And that's okay. I do need to come to a solution for my customer, and because I've already been tendered the load. Spot market freight, I need to provide a bird in hand, is what I say that all the time. I need to provide a bird in hand immediately and quickly. Okay, so I'm willing to shoot a price out to my customer if it means getting this load covered. Tell me what you'll do it for. This is what I need to know. How many miles are you away? Why do you want $100 extra on a $400 load? I'm not posting any $400 loads, but why is that? Are you going to be deadheading 200 miles to go get it? We need to start talking about that, but we need to come to a solution quickly. Relationship freight, I have time to work on it. So on that one, I will say there's less negotiation room because since my customer knows that I'm going to provide him a competitive price, I do need to get this load covered, but I am willing to take a little time to make sure I've got a reliable partner to do that with. okay? So again, creating repeat business and relationships is what wins in every single one of these scenarios. But it's about what you're talking to the broker about, really.
Fantastic. So that's like the inside view, man. I mean, it's like in the legal world. You know, an attorney never asks a question they don't know the answer to. I don't know if you know that. If you've ever been in a trial, I've experienced a couple of those, and you know that, and they always know the answer. So if you had the ability to negotiate at that level with a broker, can you see how you might get to your need faster? Understanding their need. And by knowing these three things, whether it's contract freight, whether it's spot market freight, whether it's relationship freight, allows you to kind of get into their world and become more familiar with them and negotiate better. And not be afraid of them, not be as resistant. Truckers aren't afraid of you. Resistant to negotiation. So we got about 10 minutes left. You got a broker on stage right here. You're welcome to ask questions, or we can give you back a few minutes of your Mid-America experience. Any questions? We got a hand in the back. We got a microphone for this gentleman right here. Oh, thank you, Carolyn.
Hey.
Got a man in a hat.
Hey.
Check one. Check maybe one. All right, I know these guys. I met these guys earlier. Is this Levi or is this Colin? Oh man, I tell you what. Oh, hey Levi. I don't even have to ask your name.
You're putting me on the spot.
All right, Levi, bring it on.
Okay, so I'm dispatch, but we used to be in the truck. I have 5 trucks on the road.
Okay, speak up a little bit. It's a little hard. Honestly, it's hard to hear you.
Okay, so I'm booking a load.
You're booking a load.
Yeah, and multiple brokerages have the same load out.
Yes, sir.
I call one broker, and we're working together trying to figure out the best rate that we can come to an agreement with. And he all of a sudden says, no, load is gone. And so I call the next broker. Well, he says the load is gone and it's already been covered, kind of thing. So I call the next broker, and
On the same load?
same load,
Okay.
same location, same everything.
Same location. Same company. Right.
No, different company.
No, sorry. Different company, same load.
Yep.
Right.
And this broker, we booked the load. We come to an agreement, we booked the load.
Okay.
So why is that?
Okay, so first let me rewind, make sure I got it straight here. First, you saw it posted by multiple brokers. First broker you called said, nope, load's already gone, sorry, I don't have it. Second broker you called, you got it and booked the load and everything's good. And you're wondering why this first broker said he had the load and didn't move the load, or why did the second broker have the load?
Why is it that the first broker said that the load has already been covered, it's already gone?
Okay, this is spot market freight. This is type 2, okay? I'll tell you this, as a broker, if a spot market customer sent me a load of ping pong balls that went to Dallas for $7,000, or just went to Dallas and I knew he was willing to pay $7,000, I'd book it immediately without a truck, okay? I would just send him an email right back and say, I got a truck, $7,000, here you go. Here's what happens, okay? The customer sends out an email to multiple brokers, and if they have confidence that they can cover that freight at a competitive rate, and they might even know you, or maybe they don't know you, or maybe their old truck's not available or whatever, they're gonna go ahead and shoot an email right back to say, I've got this load, I can take this load, okay?
So they confirm with the shipper they can take it.
They can take it without a truck.
So they submitted.
The same broker A that did not have that you said did not have the load, tried to do the same thing, he just lost. Speed wins. Okay, so they both probably shot emails at the same time. The shipper gave it to broker B, and broker A is going, daggone it, I missed it by 30 seconds. I should have been quicker on my email. Y'all remember my previous slide when I said technology is making improvements in our industry. It's improving rates, or it's improving data mining and decision making, and it's also improving process. That is a direct result of that.
So Levi, during the pandemic, and if you saw, remember that chart, the orange and green, and it had a really, really, really high point on it? It was like 1.3, 1.4 million loads a day in the spot market. We had the same freight posted by 6 to 10 brokers because the shippers were so desperate to get it moved, they'd pay anything, and nobody could get it moved. This is why you guys were in the driver's seat of pricing at that point, because you had a phenomenal amount of freight, the same amount of trucks trying to move it. And so this happens now that we have a normalized market. It's exactly what happens to freight. Depends on the confidence level. And also could have been that the company that said yes to it, that actually you got the freight from, really, this was the first time for them to do business with that shipper, and they were going to do whatever it took, even if it meant taking a loss on it, to secure that customer, because they play the long game. The broker plays the long game, all right? The carrier can't, especially the small carrier, can't afford to do that. That's not the dynamic that you have. Great question. Next question. That's pretty dang good insight.
Yeah, I think honestly, you have to do the process of the broker at that point, and it's important to know that is what we do. We receive email immediately, check rate, check market, enter load. Both of those things are happening at the exact same time. Okay, I check rate, check market, enter load, make a decision. Can I take it now, or do I have to wait? Am I confident enough to take it, or do I have to wait on a second? So that's
got about 4 minutes. Oh, fantastic. What is your name, ma'am, and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Shantine. I'm with DJ2 Logistics.
Hey, Shantine.
Apologies if you already answered this question because I came in on the tail end of your talk. But my question is, can you give me some advice on me being a dispatching company and how we can build better relationships with you so that we can, instead of it being more competitive, how can we work on being more of a partnership? So any advice on me being a dispatcher services to build better relationships with you so we can go back and help the carrier?
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. I will take it back to providing all the details. If you book a load with me from Louisville to Dallas, we'll keep using that, and you have trucks in Louisville 3 days a week, I might have Dallas loads 3 days a week, or I might have, maybe something works better, maybe Arkansas works better, and I might have Arkansas loads. So give that information on the front end. That goes back to the leading horse in water. I should be asking you those questions, but sometimes I don't, all right? So feel free to offer that out to me and say, hey, you don't happen to have 3 of these a week, do you? Because I've got trucks in there 3 days a week. I'd say, you know what I do? I'm the best broker alive. No, you did that for me, right? So
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's important to offer that information out, just because sometimes I don't ask the right questions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have another question. I have time for one more question. Over here on the left. Oh, no. Wait a minute.
Oh.
One guy in a hat has already asked a question. You're a twin. Come on, Colin, what you got? We'll get to yours too, real quick. We can make it quick.
So a phrase that I hear a lot from truckers alike is, the broker cares more about the customer than they care about me as the trucker. What position are you in when somebody, not necessarily you, but out in the world, what would the response to that be?
Before you answer that, I want to ask one quick question. In your mind, are you the customer or the provider when you're talking to a broker?
I would be the provider.
You're the provider. Oh, that's the mindset you got to have, right? Because he's the customer, right? All right. So that's one of the challenges in this marketplace. A lot of carriers feel like that they're the customer. And if you want to understand the definition of this, who pays who?
Yeah.
All right. He pays you, so this is the customer. So now you got sort of a more friendly relationship than just a standard customer. So
Yeah, I don't think it's
it's not quite exactly
cutthroat of
It's not.
that. It is
It's not.
friendly. I like
It's
this thing
friendly, yeah.
that when I talk to carriers about this in kind of an agent aspect, a broker's main job is to take care of their customers' freight needs. That's why I exist, period. I often tell them, my staff, that they are not load enterers, they're logistics professionals, okay? They need to take care of their customers' needs from point A to point B and all the way through. But how do I take care of my customers' needs? From the truck. So I don't think that you can have one without, it should be an equal marriage, if you will. I should care about both. Now, I used that Bismarck load earlier as an example. What you're saying is, what would I care if I sold you that Bismarck load? What would I care if, when you get to Bismarck, what you do? The answer is not, I don't care. It's, maybe I should ask additional questions because maybe we can create something long term.
We are out of time, sir. If you'll meet us outside, we'll answer your question.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. We'll
Yeah,
have
I'd love to.
Kyle answer your question. What a great afternoon. Thank you so much. We're always fired up to do this. Appreciate you guys. Go see Mercer in booth
Oh gosh, I'm not.
over that direction.
Yeah, North Wing, big
North
booth.
Wing. And Truckstops is 16160. Thank you so much and enjoy Mid-America 2024.